We are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, Divisions of Faith. We are on text 22, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Adesha kale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asatkritam avajgyatam tattamasam udharatam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. Such charity is not beneficial. Rather, sinful persons are encouraged. So it's not that if somebody wants to drink alcohol and somebody says, oh, really give me, I'm suffering so much, I need to buy some alcohol, otherwise I'm suffering. And so I take pity on such a person and give him this charity. Then this charity is in the mode of goodness. It's not good for, it's in the mode of ignorance. It's not good for him, it's not good for me. Because with this charity, he'll be encouraged to commit sins. And I am facilitating it. So even I will get the bad karma for it. So charity which is given for encouraging people to indulge in meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. All that charity is in the mode of ignorance. And also charity which are... Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person, but without respect and without attention, that sort of charity is also said to be in the mode of darkness. So when we are giving charity to somebody who's respectable, we should give it with respect, with humility, not that, oh, I'm the one who's giving you charity like that. No, we should give it proper attention and proper respect. So these are so charity also can be in the mode of ignorance, and then just have to gradually raise ourselves to act in goodness. Text 20. So what about gifts of alcohol? What kind of charity is that? That's charity in the mode of ignorance. No? Okay. Text 23. Om Tat Sad iti nirdesho brahmanastri vidasmritaha brahmanastena vedascha yagyascha vihita pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. It has been explained that penance, sacrifice, charity, and foods are divided into three categories: the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But whether first class, second class, or third class, they are all conditioned, contaminated by the material modes of nature. When they are aimed at the Supreme, Om Tat Sat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Eternal, they become means for spiritual elevation. So even if we are giving charity, for example, in the mode of goodness, it is still going to bind us. It's still going to keep us in this material world. How? Because when we are doing charity in the mode of goodness, or eating food in the mode of goodness, or doing sacrifice or penance in the mode of goodness, we are going to get pious results. And then to be able to enjoy these pious results, we'll still have to take birth in the material world. Only when our activities are connected to the Supreme Lord, only when our penance, sacrifice, charity, and foods are connected with the Supreme Lord, then they become transcendental. And then we don't get any reaction for those. So we don't need to come back to the material world to suffer or enjoy for those results. We directly, in fact, it helps us to go back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan. In the scriptural injunctions, such an objective is indicated. These three words, Om Tat Sat, particularly indicate the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. In the Vedic hymns, the word Om is always found. Krishna says that in the sound representation of the Vedic hymns, Om, that is Krishna himself. So Om Tat Sat, when anybody says Om Tat Sat, means they are referring to the supreme absolute truth. And that is Krishna. One who acts without following the regulations of the scriptures will not attain the absolute truth. He will get some temporary result, but not the ultimate end of life. So why we are encouraged to not commit sinful activities? The Vedas, they tell us not to commit sinful activities. Why? Because so that we can become receptive to hear the knowledge of God. Till the time we are committing sinful activities, we are not able to hear the message of the Lord. That's the reason we are encouraged to follow the rules and regulations. The conclusion, the one who acts without, he will get some temporary result. Yeah. The conclusion is that the performance of charity, sacrifice, and penance must be done in the mode of goodness. Performed in the mode of passion or ignorance, they are certainly inferior in quality. The three words, Om Tat Sat, are uttered in conjunction with the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Example, Om Tat Vishnu. Whenever a Vedic hymn or the holy name of the Supreme Lord is uttered, Om is added. This is the indication of Vedic literature. These three words are taken from Vedic hymns. Om iti etad brahmano nedishtam nama indicates the first goal. Then Tattvam Asi, Chandogya Upanishad 687 indicates the second goal. And Sad Eva Saumya, Chandogya Upanishad 6.2.1 indicates the third goal. Combined, they become Om Tat Sat. Formally, when Brahma, the first created living entity, performed sacrifices, he indicated by these three words the supreme personality of Godhead. So what does Om Tat Sat mean? It means it's referring to the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, which includes all his energies, all his expansions. There's nothing beyond the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, the same principle has always been followed by disciplic succession. So this hymn has great significance. Bhagavad Gita recommends, therefore, that any work should be done for Om Tat Sat or for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one performs penance, charity, and sacrifice, with these three words, he's acting in Krishna consciousness. So charity, so we are encouraged then, the Vedas encourage that if you're doing any charity, any penance, any sacrifice, it should be done for the Supreme Lord, so that we can get spiritual benefit from it, not any material benefit. It should be done for the pleasure of the Lord, so that the Lord is pleased by these actions of charity, of penance, of sacrifice. It's for the pleasure of the Lord. Krishna consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activities, which enables one to return home back to Godhead. There is no loss of energy in acting in such a transcendental way. So any action which we are performing in Krishna consciousness is never lost. That time, that energy, that money is never lost. It eternally stays with us. And slowly, slowly, we are going back to Godhead. Think about it. Anything material we are doing now, we are going to forget in the next life. We study, we get a university degree, in this life. And then, but in the next life, again, we have to go to school. Again, we start from ABC. Again, we have to learn about everything. So material knowledge is like that. It's just limited to the body. Again, we forget because the body keeps changing. So we keep forgetting. But the spiritual knowledge, because it's to do with the soul, it's eternal. Because it's in relationship with Krishna, it's eternal. So it always stays. If we have already started our bhakti this life, next life we will get an opportunity to take birth in a family of devotees so that we can perfect our bhakti, you know, or a family of very good high birth of very wealthy people so that we can continue with our bhakti. The facilities are provided. So there is no loss when we are doing bhakti. There's no loss of time, energy, money. Nothing is lost. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfectly fine. Like how beautifully you mentioned here, like some people in this world, they just know pap and punya. They are unaware of a karma connecting because they don't know. They have never been told.
Yeah.
They just want the results in the form of punya or pap. If they're doing bad, they will get pap. So they are scared. And if they're doing good, then they want all the punya so that they can go back to Vaikuntha, not Vaikuntha, the heaven, and they can stay there, Indralok, Brahmalok. But they are not told about a karma actually. In like what I hear from people, they don't know. उनको सिर्फ ऐसे ही लगता है कि हमें बस अच्छा करना है, अच्छा या बुरा हो गया, अरे हमें माफ कर दीजिए भगवान, या अच्छा करना है हमें बस. But they don't know the concept of a karma, which is so important, and it is so easy. We just have to do everything for pleasing Krishna and just like offer it to him. Like I heard in one of the lectures of Amrendra Prabhu, and he said that there are three um, times in the day, like in the morning, afternoon, and evening, sandhyas, three sandhyas of the day. So we should offer the obeisances and tell Krishna early morning in the first obeisance that I'm offering whole of my day to you. I will try not to do bad, but whatever I do, I still offer it to you. And all my good results and everything, I offer the whole day results on your lotus feet, Krishna. So he said that we should do that so that it turns, like, because you don't know what's going to happen the next moment. So if you offer it to Krishna, then he'll take care and he will handle, and maybe the things will not happen. You will not deal in that bad way because you know that you're offering it to Krishna. So you'll be very careful not to hurt people, not to speak bad things about others, because you know that you're offering to Krishna. So it should be good. You will try to do good, and Krishna will motivate you because you're offering it to Krishna, and then it converts in a karma. So like this is such a small thing, but it is so important in life to know that there is something like a karma which is not stressed in our lives. Only punya and pap is karma is expressed in our life.
Yeah, so true. That's true. And so only our devotees can teach us. So that's how we have come in touch with the devotees, and they're telling us that if you connect all your activities for the pleasure of Krishna, that becomes akarma. So we should try to whoever is willing to listen, we can explain to them also. To whoever's willing to listen, can explain to them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So we'll stop here. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinde, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.